What if we could just choose joy? Hey everyone, Kirby Hasseman here with a new DMJ one-on-one. It's where I try to deliver you just a little bit more marketing joy each and every time I do it. If you're enjoying these, if you're getting value out of these, please feel free to subscribe and I will keep them coming. So back to the original question. What if we could choose joy? I think that we can all acknowledge that it is a pretty tumultuous tenuous time from a mental health perspective. You know, we've certainly lived through the pandemic. We've made it through there, but you know, with inflation and challenging times, and of course, it's an election year, and I find that there is just a huge percentage of people who are frustrated and angry and looking for outrage in everywhere they turn, and those folks tend to get in our face all the time, and it brings outrage to us. So what if we could choose joy instead? So during this election season, during this this time of unease, what if we could make a choice to choose different thoughts, to create sort of a different reality? Because I understand, and I think you probably understand too, that our thoughts tend to create our emotions tend to create our actions create our results. And so what if we could choose joy instead? So I think that we can, and I think it's incumbent upon us to be intentional about this. So I want to talk about 4 different ways that we could choose joy, that we could provide more joy into the world. And I think it starts with the idea that we do get to choose our thoughts. I think that's one of those things that we don't always understand. That we think that if a thought comes into our brain, that it must be true. And I think it's really important to understand that not every thought that comes into your brain, not every thought in your brain needs to come out of your mouth, but not every thought that comes into your brain is actually true. It is just a thought, and we get to choose which ones we believe. If there was anything that I've learned from doing some meditation, and I still need to do more, I still need to grow in my practice of that, but the biggest lesson I think I've learned is that I get to separate myself from those thoughts, and I get to choose the ones that serve me. And so understanding that, I think, is the first step to understanding that we could choose more joy, more happiness, more fulfillment in our life. And so starting with that foundation is where we want to begin. We want to begin that, sometimes Wayne Dyer talked about the idea that thoughts are coming across your brain all the time, almost like a ticker tape on TV, and you get to choose which ones serve you. So there might be a thought that says you're not good enough. You can say, nope, I don't need that one. Or, hey, there's no way I'll ever reach this goal. Nope, don't need that. But hey, you know what? I might be able to accomplish this. Ooh, that's a thought I can use and it can serve me. And so I would encourage you to sort of understand that and then be intentional about the thoughts that you keep. So here are the 4 things that I want to encourage you to do if you want to start choosing joy just a little bit more in your life. And what I've found is that when I choose joy, I tend to be more successful, right? I tend to be more excited. I deal with stress better, all those sort of things. So let's dive in. So first things first is be intentional about your inputs. Now, there's several sort of layers to this. So inputs are a lot of different things. So the first one is the people that surround you. You've heard that most of us are the average of the 5 people that we spend the most time with. And I've found the older I get, the more that tends to be true. And so if the people that you are surrounding yourself with are not doing well financially, or they're not doing well from a health perspective, you tend to fall into the habits of those people. So it's important to be intentional about those, the people that you do surround yourself. One of the ways to do that is to listen to podcasts, to listen or read books. And those are ways that you can get around people who are ahead of you on the game, and you can learn from them, even if they aren't around you physically. But also, spending time with people who inspire you or a little bit further down the path. Trying to be more intentional about that is a really powerful hack in making yourself more successful, but also making yourself more joyful. If the people who are around you are negative all the time, that is going to rub off on you. You'll start to see those thought patterns. So be intentional about the people that you surround yourself with. That's one of your inputs, those people. Number 2 is the media you consume. Now, I'll be the first to tell you, I stopped watching news of any kind many years ago because it was just one of those things that I found that it put me in a negative frame of mind all the time. And every once in a while, I'll get on the road and I'll be, down in a hotel lobby and the news will be on. And so all of a sudden it's there in front of me. And it is amazing to me once you notice, dude, it is negative all the live long day. It's a fire, it's a murder, it's a rape. It's like 1/2 hour of, if the world was really as bad as the news portrays us, man, there'd be fires right outside my door. Everything would be falling down around me. And folks, it's not. It's not. But if that's what you put in your brain all the time, that's what you're going to see. So be intentional about the media that you consume. And P.S., if all of a sudden you're hearing this and you're like, well, this side or this side is bad about it. No, both sides. Both sides of the political spectrum are bad about this, and both kinds of networks are bad about this. So be intentional about the media you consume. Also, be intentional about your social media use. This is one I struggle with, and I think those of us in the marketing field struggle with it because we need to be engaged on social media as a part of our job. But man, in the last 30 days, I have been really intentional about people I'm hiding. If all you're doing every single day is posting about the political candidate that you don't like or that you do like, folks, everybody's made up their mind. It's a waste of your energy. You're not convincing anybody to vote for anybody. You're just convincing me to not want to be around you. So be intentional about your social media, because again, that's one of those inputs that really affects your mood. And so if you are following people, if you are on a platform that brings you joy, there'll be more joy in your life. So be intentional about that input of social media. And then it also goes down to the other kinds of media that you put in your brain. TV shows. If you are always watching negative, sort of not joyless, let's call it, TV shows, well, that's going to rub off as well. And then finally, the books and podcasts you listen to. This is a place where I think sometimes where I'm not going to do the news, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that. Well, I will insert in books and podcasts that do lift me up. That's one of the places where I'm most intentional about my inputs. And so I have a rotation of podcasts that and they might also just be content that I consume on YouTube or whatever. And it's Gary Vee, it's Ed Milet, it's Cody Sanchez, it's John Acuff, it's Alex Hormozy, and others. But they kind of make me learn, right? They make me think. And then they also talk to me about the what's possible. And I think when I am listening to those voices in the morning, and I'm really intentional about that in the morning, it really shapes my mood for the rest of the day. So if I want to be joyful and I want to be more intentional about that, one of the things I have to be intentional about is my inputs. So that's number one. Number two, it sounds really simple, but exercise, sleep, and drinking water. It's funny to me how we can feel like, okay, I'm going to stay up late. I have to get up early to grind. No, I'm not going to get enough sleep. I'm not going to drink water, and I'm not going to exercise. If you want to be more joyful, just doing those simple things for your body so that you're not tired and stressed and in pain, it will allow you to deal with stress better, think more creatively. One of the books, Brain Rules by Dr. John Medina, I read this many years ago and it's really affected me. And it's, if you want to be more joyful, your brain's got to be working well. And those are things that can really help with that. The exercise piece is really fascinating because exercise actually makes you smarter. And when you are doing exercise, it not only makes you physically stronger, but it does help you think more creatively. It actually pushes more blood into your brain, which allows you to think more creatively and do better work, which ultimately will bring you more joy. So the number two thing is, if you want to be more joyful, get some exercise, get out there, go for a walk, be outside, get enough sleep, and drink some water. The number three thing I would say if you want to be more joyful is be more generous. One of the things, and this is sort of a hack that I've learned for myself, when I find myself in a rut, when I find myself that I'm not in a very good mood, that I'm angry with people in my life, or I'm frustrated with my job, or I'm whatever that is, when I flip the script and I start thinking of ways that I can be generous, it is amazing that the switch it clicks in my brain. And the big thing is it stops making me focus so much on me, right? It starts making me focus on my friends, my customers, my loved ones, those sort of things. So if you want to be more joyful, being more generous can help you really make a mind switch that can be really, really helpful. And finally, the fourth thing is be grateful. And I know you've heard that before, but let me dig into this just a little bit. I think we've got a formula backwards in our culture, and it's work hard plus success equals happiness. And I think we all know that's not true, because we know people who seem to have achieved things in your life that you go, wow, that's amazing. And they're not happy, right? Because they're stacking it up wrong. The formula should be flipped. It should be be happy, then work hard, and you're more likely to succeed. And studies will tell you that. If you can have positive thoughts in your brain before you do a stressful activity, before you take the SAT, before you do creative work, your brain responds really well to that. And so sometimes they'll show that the results are better. So if you can push positive things into your brain, then you will perform better in times of stress. Now, if you are not one of those people and you're like, oh, great, well, I'm not always a positive person, so, maybe I can't take advantage of this. That's where gratitude comes into play. You can't be both grateful and negative at the same time. It's just not how the brain works. It holds one thought at a time. So when you are feeling negative, flipping that script and being grateful about the things in your life, that can really help you be more happy. And then ultimately it will help you be more successful. So in this time when you've got people arguing about everything on the internet, it seems like literally there has to be a website that's like bepissedoftoday.com, that there's a new news story that everybody seems to be outraged about. It seems like that, and everybody's trying to push your buttons, and they're right and they're wrong, and it's hard to avoid that anger, that negativity, and that anxiousness. Doing these 4 things can help you choose joy. Choose those thoughts that really serve you. Choose those thoughts that make you happy. And hopefully when you are happy, it leads to more success. Well, hey, I hope this has been helpful to you. If it has, please feel free to subscribe or share with somebody that you think might need to hear this. I want to get as many people that we can to hear this so that we can help them. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.